and welcome back.
Good afternoon.
To visit Fylde Coast. This is a to go to this afternoon because the other ones suffering. So we are to sale. T-Boy has been for his COVID booster jab, and we've been on a magical mystery tour all the way around Grange Park and been in just about every public building in Grange Park. Is that not right?
They'd already written me off as not coming.
DNR, I think she said, didn't she? Well, DNA. Does DNA mean did not attend?
Yes.
Not DNR as in
no,
do not resist. So we thought while we were so close by that we would come and have a look at Layton Cemetery, because this is one of the oldest parts of Blackpool and it's somewhere I've kept wanting to come, and it's an absolutely beautiful day. It's not a huge long job, it's not going to be a full day's walk round, so we've taken the advantage to come, haven't we?
We have.
We have.
Going to pick me.
There you go, right on cue, ambulance.
We're just going to pick me spot.
So, if you are new here, don't forget, make sure that you're subscribed, make sure that you've signed up, make sure that you're getting your email newsletter. It's just looking to see where the ambulance has gone. It's always been partial to following an ambulance.
I just wondered whether it was coming here.
You just wondered whether it was going to us. So we will go and see what we can see. So there's this sort of roundabout at the centre of Layton, and this is the library. And this is the entrance to the cemetery, and it's an old cemetery. And as I said, one of the original areas of Blackpool, and it's home to Commonwealth war graves, and there are all kinds of everything in here. So it's open from 8:30 to 6 every day, and it has a very active friends group. Can I just point this out please while we're here? Dogs on leads, and make sure that you pick your litter up. Pick your dog poo up and put it in a bin. So it's a really, really old cemetery, and the graves the cemetery dates back to 1873. These are 1904, so we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that in a second. What's betting we get lost while we're in here? They've got a really active friends group, and they do tours of the cemetery. Look at this. I think this is going to be one of these. Look at this type. Wow, that's amazing. 1905. Really elaborate gravestones. Yeah, which ones? This side. Let's have a look then. William Taylor died 1890, aged 44. Wow, I love old graveyards like this. I'm not going to make you look at every single individual grave because we could be here for a while, couldn't we? But if you want to come on a guided tour where the Friends of Layton Cemetery will tell you all about all the interesting graves of people that were either notable or 1883. Here we go, look, that's an old one. 1883 and 1884. Josias Hargreaves. They'll take you on a guided tour of the cemetery and tell you all about all the notable and infamous and famous people that are buried here. So this lovely little building is one of three. It's one of three mortuary chapels. And this is the Anglican one, and it's the only one that remains because the nonconformist and the Roman Catholic chapels have all been demolished. Isn't that a lovely building? That's really nice. That it's got gargoyles on it and everything. That's really lovely. And it's not used for services, rather, is what I'm trying to say. That's lovely. Here lies Thomas Wilson, who died on the 4th of July 1881. His end was peace. So that must be one of the very first gravestones. This one looks like it's had an angel on it. Oh no, it's a dove, sorry. This one. And that's 1882. Goodness me. Amazing. I think when you come to a cemetery like this and you look at really old graves, it kind of makes it makes me think about when it was 1871 and what Blackpool must have been like. Look at this one, exactly. Margaret Hemingway, their daughter, who died 14th of August 1881, aged 1 year old. So the cemetery had only been open a few years at that point. These old tombstone ones. I mean, imagine what Blackpool would have been like at that time. Probably had little or nothing in the way of running water and sanitation and public services. All died of the most simple things as we see today. So if you got something, 1883, if you got something fairly straightforward in 1883, it would have just killed you. It would have just killed you because there were no antibiotics, barely any treatment, no NHS. People couldn't afford to buy drugs and pay for doctors and things like that. Exactly. 1888. That one stood the test of time well, hasn't it? Yeah. In loving memory of Elizabeth. Wow. 1888. Life's race well run, life's work well done, life's crown well won, now comes to rest. That's quite a good motto, that. This is a really old one. This is 1876. The cemetery itself opened in 1873. So Richard and Elizabeth, this is Sophia, beloved daughter of Richard and Elizabeth Curtin, died 4th of October 1876, aged 31. They must have had a fair amount of money in order to buy a monument like that. I mean, even today that would cost a lot of money, wouldn't it? And apparently a wooden isolation hospital was first built on the land that was acquired for the cemetery, but it was demolished due to the depressing view. I'm not sure whether it was demolished before the cemetery or after it. But the cemetery opened in 1873 with 5 acres of land that at the time cost £4,000 to buy. So the service of dedication was carried out on the 7th of February 1873. This is according to Nick Moore's amazing history of Blackpool, which of course you can read on Visit Fylde. The link's in the description underneath the video. So the service of dedication was carried out on New Road, and it was known at the time as New Road Cemetery. Did you know that, T-Boy? It was known as New Road Cemetery. These are lovely, aren't they? These really old, fancy ones. 1890. Wow. Charles Bleasdale. Late of Barrow, that's where T-Boy came from, Barrow, originally. 1899, age 63. Just a minute, I'm coming. Impatient. I want to look at them all. They just fascinate me. Just absolutely fascinate me. So before this cemetery opened, if you wanted a Christian burial, you'd got to go to Bispham Parish Church. John Slater was the first person to be buried in a nonconformist grave And he was a gardener and a handyman at Bailey's Hotel. Goodness, it is a little bit on the lean, that is it not? That's on the lean. That's on the lean. It's not on the level. Obviously subsiding after years of rainfall. So would you be surprised to know, T-Boy, that the council realised when they got the cemetery open that they could make money from selling graves.
Yeah.
So
Road councils, that.
they sold plots off and filled them with local worthies. Local worthy people. I love the memory of Eliza, 1901. Goodness, it is big. I've never ever been in here. That looks like Jesus down there. Angels. George Walker must have had some money.
Oh,
George Walker in 1915, I think that says, or 18, age 17. Goodness, imagine what it must have cost to buy a monument like that. That's a war grave, isn't it? That's a war grave. So there are 3 sections to the cemetery. There's a Church of England section which was licensed in May 1873 and consecrated later in that year by the Bishop of Manchester. There's a Roman Catholic section which was consecrated in June 1874, so interments had to be carried out under licence before then. And there's a Jewish section which was consecrated on the 18th of May 1890 with the first burial in 1901. An amazing place. I'm going to have to go and explore. I'm going to have to go and explore and have a good look round. By 1902 it had been enlarged by another 2.5 acres. The 5 original acres were full. So they bought another 2.4 acres at a cost of £9,000, and that opened in 1906. Other extensions were added in 1914 and 1919. And there's been just over 50,000 people interred here. What's that one? Let's see the date properly on that one. 1923, I think it says. 1912. When you think that, 1912. Well, we've got Jonathan Lett of Wakefield, died 13th of June 1908. Alice Gray Meredith, 29th of January 1912. My grandma was born in 1913, so when Alice died, my grandma was just about to be born. When you think how old that is. Amazing. So if you're fancying this being your last resting place, I'm afraid you've had it, because it's full. There are no vacant plots. There are 22,300 graves, including 400 war graves, and it's full to the gunwales.
You know, families went into debt to
Oh yeah.
gravestones. Was it just a done thing?
1917, late of Oldham. So you see, everybody was migrating to Blackpool from Wakefield and Oldham even back then. What an amazing place. Just goes on and on and on and on, doesn't it? And there you go. I didn't need the guided tour, and I found the grave of John Cocker, who is one of the gentlemen who was responsible for a lot of the things that we see and take for granted in Blackpool today. One of the founding fathers of the town. It didn't actually take a lot of finding because it's on the main. That's the chapel up there, look, and it's on the main road, straight down the middle. Thomas Porritt, that's another name that rings a bell. See, my problem is I can remember the gist of any story and I always forget the details. To the honoured memory of those sailors and soldiers who gave their lives for their country in the Great War 1914-18 and who lie buried in this cemetery. It's very nice, isn't it? That's an elaborate one for Isaiah Hall, 1868 to 1949. Imagine Blackpool in 1868. I'd love to be able to time travel and go back and see places when they were such a long time ago. Must be absolutely fascinating. 46. This one did well, he made 73. Their beloved son, though, died in infancy. And I think their gravestones come a cropper a little bit as well. Found another lovely one here. And these people must have been Freemasons, as spotted by T-Boy. Look, there's the Freemasons sign on it. So this is in treasured memory of William Lambert Cookson. And we're in 1927 here, 1947. So this is the very other end of the cemetery as you come out onto the main road. $1910. 1980? October the 8th, 1980? That seems quite
Which one?
current. This one, it's been Peter and Mary Hodgson, this one. Died in 1931, 1934, 1952, and then I think they've reopened the grave and put Elizabeth Janet in when she's died in 1980. That's quite, oh, that was 1980 at the side of it, that's quite recent. Goodness. Fascinating. So, T-Boy, have you enjoyed your afternoon out?
Yes.
You enjoyed your afternoon out in the cemetery?
No, it's been very interesting, and
It's very interesting.
you know, all these people at some time in their life have done things.
They've all had lives and families, and their now is just as important as our now is today.
Yeah.
And then when you've gone, it's like poof, you never existed.
Yeah.
You never existed, which is why yesterday's lesson, people, which is why you should grab today and wander around graveyards on Wednesday afternoons at, what time is it now, I wonder? It's 4:15. It's getting round to cup of tea time.
Kevin will have tea ready for us.
Do you think? So I think that's been absolutely fascinating. I could quite enjoy coming on a tour of the cemetery with the friends group. They have a Facebook page, so if you're interested in any of that, you can join their Facebook page,
and then you'll
find out all about where all the interesting stuff is buried, literally. Fascinating. And did you know that there's a bus stop near the gate that's known locally as the Dead Stop? Somebody's got the same sense of humour as us, haven't they?
Yeah.
Right, I hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget to do all the like, subscribe, it's a bit like 3, 2, 1, isn't it? The like and the subscribe and the bell. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, folks.
We'll see you next time. Bye for now.